Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Reframeable Podcast, the podcast that brings you people's stories and ideas about how we can work to reframe our relationship, not just with alcohol, but with stress, anxiety, relationships, enjoyment, and so much more. Because changing our relationship with alcohol is about so much more than changing the contents of our glass. This podcast is brought to you by the Reframe app. Reframe is the #1 iOS and Android app to help you cut back or quit drinking alcohol. It uses neuroscience to reframe your relationship with alcohol and unlock the healthiest, happiest you. My name is Kevin Bellack. I'm a certified professional recovery coach and the head of coaching at the Reframe app.
And I'm Emma Simmons. I'm a reframer, a certified life coach and thrive coach with Reframe. And today we're excited to be joined by Jen Hirst. Jen works to empower women to feel their best in sobriety and boost their confidence from day one by integrating 6 science-backed habits to make sobriety stick. She's the founder of Lighthouse Sobriety, a supportive community where women stay accountable, build connections, and stay alcohol-free together. Her 100-day sober journal has helped hundreds of women stay consistent and reach their goals. And her sold-out group coaching programs have supported women around the world in embracing sobriety with a get-to mentality. Jen has been featured in Women's Health and the New York Times for her work in helping women create a life they're excited to wake up to. Welcome, Jen. I'm so excited to chat with you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
That is quite the bio. Women's Health, New York Times.
For helping me write it. I'm like, make
Excellent.
me sound great. Thanks.
Yes. It comes back with something you're like, no, better.
I know. Come on. I'm like, that stinks. Do better.
Like those Instagram reels, better, more awesome, more fabulous,
Yes.
more iconic.
Yeah, I know. ChatGPT is definitely a lifesaver. Thank you.
Yes.
No, thank you.
So I'll get to that later.
What, ChatGPT is your lifesaver?
It's my nugget at the end. Spoiler.
I guess let's dive right in. Tell us a bit about yourself, how you ended up here on this podcast, where you are in life.
Yeah, and that's crazy because if you would go back 12 years ago, maybe even 15 years ago, I never would think I would be on a podcast like this or even sharing about what was going on, even though my drinking started much earlier, from the day I got sober to the day I even realized that I had a problem to the day I had my first drink. And so I always like to say that no one is off limits when it comes to alcohol or having a problem with alcohol or struggling with alcohol on a spectrum, as I see it now. At the time when I was in one of my inpatient treatments, I didn't think it was as severe as it was. But looking back, as I've told my story again and again, I was on one of the more severe cases where I didn't know if I was going to wake up the next day. But you wouldn't know it looking at pictures of me because I appeared like I had it all together. I was really good at hiding it. And so if you go to my Instagram account or if you see pictures of me, I don't have a lot of pictures of me drinking or hammered because I did most of my drinking the last 3 years, especially 2 years at home alone in secret. And it wasn't fun anymore. It was a means to survive. And so it was really like a 10-year progression because it didn't happen just right off the gate. It really was. And I think Annie Grace says this at one point, is that on average, it's usually a 10-year progression, which is why it's so tricky and so sneaky. And it sneaks up on you to one day you wake up and you have no idea how you got here where you can't stop. And that's where I was. I was physically dependent on it. But it happened over time. And the more stress I added, the more I drank. But I came from a great home. You know, if you look back, I didn't have anything traumatic really happen to me. My parents rarely drank. There was like these goody two-shoes. They were high school sweethearts in the band. They met in the band playing clarinet. And I was raised in this perfectionist home where I started to put really high standards on myself to earn love, to earn rewards equaled, I would get love. And so it didn't happen right away, but especially later on, because I couldn't manage and live up to these standards that I put on myself. I would drink and I just couldn't take it. And so long story short, I had my first drink at 15 and I did a quote unquote normal drinking throughout high school, even college, but it was really like this turning point. And I can only say that because I did a usage history. And so if no one knows what that is, I've done them in every single inpatient and outpatient treatment that I've been to, is where you go through, and I actually have the women in my programs do it, is you go through and write out your history with alcohol from start to finish, from start to today. And it has been super helpful for the women in my groups. It's hard also to go back and to relive these moments, but it's so therapeutic. And it was in this experience, the first time I did it at Hazelden, that I pinpointed the exact moment where I started to abuse it. Because again, I went out, I did with my friends, I did the college thing, parties, keggers, all of that, but I never really used it to manage or change my emotions. I did it because that's what my friends were doing. But it was this turning point when my second boyfriend wanted to go on a break, and I just went back to that heartbreak. I think that we've all probably experienced your first love, and oh my God, I never want to feel like that again. I had no idea what to do with myself. Everything changed. Your entire future changed. And so to deal with that, I was living with some guys at the time who said, hey, if you take Adderall, they would get this prescription for Adderall, they would abuse it and then use it up within a couple days. And then they'd wait till the next prescription. And they're like, hey, if you take this, because they knew how much I was struggling with this breakup, you're going to feel amazing. You're not even going to think about him. You're going to feel like God. And again, I never really had a problem with Adderall. I loved it because I could get a lot done. However, I could stop it at any point. But it was in that moment that I was like, no way, I could do this the same with alcohol. I could just change any hard thing that I went through, that I'm going through, loneliness, anxiety. Oh my gosh, having social anxiety, that going to parties, how nervous I would get. I could do that and I wouldn't have to feel anything. So this was back in 2002, whatever. So again, I had that in the back of my mind. I could take away any hard thing with it. So I used it to manage anxiety. I used it for fear, for sadness, for overwhelm, for literally anything. And again, it wasn't a problem right off the gate, but the more and more, and again, I had consequences leading up to the day I got sober. But again, going back to this perfectionist tendency, I put a lot on my plate. Once I started to get a job, I also had freelance. I started to work as an art director for wedding magazines for freelance. And it was really in the year leading up to my wedding that things really ramped up. I was working 24/7. I had a full-time job. I was managing and designing 4 magazines. I designed a freelance magazine full-time, and then I planned my wedding by myself. Now, the one thing that I didn't do was ask for help because there was one moment where I asked my husband to put on stamps. I'm doing it because he's right over there. And he put them on crooked for wedding invites. And I'm like, oh my God. I can't. I'm like, I'm just going to do it. And so I was like, you go out, have fun. I'll just take care of everything. And so I would drink too because I was anxious, because I wanted to have fun. And the more I drank, the more anxious I got. The more anxious I got, the more I drank. And so I would post pictures of my wedding day on social because I am there and I'm smiling, but you don't know the crippling anxiety that I was feeling. I started drinking vodka in the morning. I took an Adderall to just get through it, to appear normal. I blacked out. I don't remember the end of my wedding. And it was really like the next day, 2 days later, I physically collapsed. I was expected to go back to work. And in this time frame, all of this drinking, I was hiding from my husband. He had no idea what was going on. I had started hiding bottles in my closet. When he would go to bed, I would sneak sips in. And I was starting to get really worried leading up to my wedding of questioning, am I an alcoholic? Oh my God. And all that was around back then was AA, and that scared the crap out of me. Having this label, my gosh, as someone who appeared and did all these great things, to now look at me and have people look at me and call me an alcoholic, what was that going to do to my ego? They're going to realize I have a problem, a serious problem. And also, I'm going to have to stop, which I didn't know if I wanted to do then, but I didn't know who to turn to or who to talk to or even what I was going through. But a couple days after, I literally started drinking around the clock. I gave up. I'm like, I'm done with this. I physically collapsed. My husband found out. I wasn't showing up to work, and began the 1.5 year journey of me really actively seeking sobriety and failing multiple times. Attending my first outpatient treatment. I started with that. Actually, I started with my first AA meeting, which scared the crap out of me. I was still drunk. I threw up in a bag. My husband went with me. In this time period, I also tried other forms of alcohol, because one thing I dealt with, and I think a lot of us deal with, is shame. I had so much shame of what I was doing because I didn't want to drink. I just didn't know how to feel normal anymore, because normal meant anxiety and loneliness. And it dove me into, I would even say, a deep depression, which I never had before. But I dove into other forms of alcohol because I was rotating my liquor stores, which I think a lot of us do. I would go to the different rounds, and I felt, and I think I learned it in one of my treatments, that mouthwash has the same form of alcohol in it as vodka, or close to it. It can still get you drunk. And I'm like, oh, no way. Because my husband found out I can't have vodka or alcohol in here, I can just drink mouthwash. And I could go into Target, buy a couple bottles of mouthwash, and no one freaking knows. So that was my drink of choice for the last 1.5 years. I didn't really drink anything else. And when people found out about that, I went to, what is it, vanilla extract and peppermint extract and any extract I could find. I even went into hand sanitizers. I even tried rubbing alcohol once and got really sick. And then my husband almost took me to the hospital because that's incredibly lethal. So is mouthwash. And so it just began again, I went to my first outpatient. That didn't work. It worked for a little bit, but then of course I went back and tried to moderate or tried to sneak it. And then I went to my first inpatient stay at the Hazelden, and I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I was so scared to go. First 30-day stay. However, when I say this, is two things have to be true when you get sober, is that you have to really want it and you have to be ready. That actually comes from Matthew Perry. I remembered that we were watching a special with him like a long time ago. I'm like, that's so true. And I really wanted to be sober, and I knew that's what I had to do, but I just wasn't ready. I still felt that I could try to control this, and then I wasn't ready to put it down. So I relapsed the day I got it out. I fell so hard. And so many things started happening. When I did all the aftercare stuff, actually, I went back to inpatient a month later at Hazelden, did their extended care stay. So I spent Thanksgiving in treatment. I was able to get out before Christmas, but I still wasn't completely ready. So I was still sneaking mouthwash, and I went to the sober house, all of the aftercare stuff that they recommend. But it was in this time I got pulled over for my second DWI. I got my first one in 2005. I got pulled over for my second DWI. And you think all of these things, you would wake up and you'd be like, oh, okay, that was it. And I'm not saying they didn't have an impact on when it finally clicked for me. But I had to experience consequence after consequence of being kicked out by my husband, almost being kicked out by my family. I lost my job. I lost my car. I got, again, my second DWI. I blew over a .2 in rush hour traffic. I blacked out. I had an open bottle in my car. And so all of these things happened, and I literally had zero money to my name. And so after being kicked out of my house by my husband, staying with my parents for a couple weeks, I was still trying to just, again, fight this craving, try to feed this craving with mouthwash. And it was in this period I had gone to the office with my father. They had to keep tabs on me, which made me even want to drink more. And I was also taking Adderall. I had bought it like randomly online. It was super sketchy. And so it was in this period, like remember sitting on my childhood bed, and I remember my hands going numb. I'm like, I can't feel my hands. My heart's racing. And then I remember, I wish ChatGPT was around back then, because I Googled, I was like, what are the symptoms of cardiac arrest? Because I feel like I can't feel anything. I'm like, am I having a heart attack? and it said, drink some milk. I didn't want to tell my parents, because if I told my parents, that means I had to be honest about Adderall and that I was drinking. And according to them, I was sober. So I drank milk, and that really scared me. But it was in this period where I started drinking early in the morning at my dad's office, drank mouthwash, got it at Target downtown. I blacked out. I started throwing up. I came to in detox on April 23rd of 2013. I actually came to in a hospital bed. And what I remember was I woke up and my mother was by my side, and I just said, help me. I didn't know. It was maybe at that point where I finally surrendered, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was going to happen. So they took me to my second detox day. And it was in this moment where I blew a 0.34, which is high, but it's not the highest I've seen. I've seen much higher, not like it's a competition. But the fact that this was just another day of my drinking, how close did I come to not waking up before? I had woken up and had no idea what happened. I had woken up and I had completely torn apart our couch where stuffing was everywhere. I had come to, and my dogs were outside, and I had no recollection of it. Next to men, I have no idea what happened. Like all of these things that I put myself in such unsafe situations. How close did I come? And it was like an out of body experience. And detox, of course, is no fun. You don't have anything. You're around people you don't know. You're coming off. Of course, you can get some medication to make it a little bit less intense. But it was like I had an out of body experience. And I remember it was during the day, the next day. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? And I didn't know. My husband wasn't talking to me. My parents were talking to me. I had court that next day. I had no money, no car, no job. As someone who came from a great upbringing, who won awards, I did well in my job, to having literally nothing and homeless. And so my parents didn't want me back. And so I was calling homeless shelters to see where I could go. And it was in that moment, again, on my bed, where I'm like, I'm done. I am so freaking done. I don't want to drink. I am so disgusted by it, what it's done, what it has taken from my life. And I didn't know what was going to happen. Again, I had nothing. But and I told myself, as long as you don't drink, you cannot make this any worse. The only way up is from here. And so I let go of everything that was going to happen. I didn't know what was going to happen with my husband, if he would take me back. We were not talking because they thought, okay, if she's been to inpatient twice, why isn't she cured? What do we do? And of course they said boundaries, but I kept that as a memento of always taking the next right thing. I had a lot of stuff to clean up, a lot. I went to my last inpatient stay, which is so much easier once you stop trying to fight it. Gosh, getting sober is so much easier when I stopped trying to fight drinking. I didn't want to anymore. And I know I had a bunch of stuff to do, but it was so much easier. And even if people didn't believe me, I was going to shut up and I was going to show up and just do the work. So I did my inpatient, I did outpatient, I showed up to AA meetings, I got a parole officer, I did a day in jail, I got a breathalyzer in my car, I paid all my fines, I got my license back. All of these things. I was on house arrest for 2 weeks. Try explaining that to a lawyer when you get a job. Talk about humbling. And I kept doing the next right thing. And it's amazing what can happen when you don't consume this one thing. In 4 months, I got a job back in my field, because in that time I could not drive. So I biked to a local printing shop to have some accountability, to start earning some income until I got a job back in my field. In 4 months, we learned I was pregnant, which is something I wanted so much. But of course, how could we bring a child into this earth when I can't even take care of myself? And it was in this moment, before I entered my last inpatient stay, that my husband and we took a drive just randomly the day before I went into my last day. He wasn't really talking to me, but we went out to dinner just to have a nice meal before I went in. And it was just silent. We were taking a drive through this nice neighborhood. And at the time we were living in a condo, and it just like a townhouse. It was good, but it was this nice neighborhood. It was sunset. And I just started looking at all these beautiful houses and what could be. because one of the biggest things that we wanted was to have kids. And it just hurt me so much because I couldn't stop drinking. But I saw what our life could be like. And I saw these two kids and I saw this like brick house. And I'm like, gosh, this could be us one day. And it's so crazy because now I'm living that life, and not even living that life, but such a better life. I have two kids, a boy and a girl, who I saw. I couldn't see their faces, of course. We have a beautiful home. Now it's not in the city. We actually moved to the country, which is something completely outside of my comfort zone. Love it. But again, in 4 months, I got a job. I was pregnant. And then in 7 months, I was promoted. And once we had my son, who came early, that was like the best gift to come out of my sobriety, because my gosh, if I could pour this mouthwash and this poison and treat my body like crap, for it to come back and to be able to produce a life where I thought I was definitely going to be infertile, he was the greatest gift to come when I hit my 1 year. I'm like, oh my God, look at what, and he was something to look forward to. And so I look at my life now and I want to treat my body with respect. I want to feed it well. I want to move it. I want to drink water. I want to make sure I'm trying the best to sleep. And so I do that again by just taking care of it as just a thank you for, my gosh, not giving up on me, as a thank you again, even to my husband, for not giving up on me. We were able to become so much stronger in our relationship because there was no secrets. And for the first 4 years, and I know I'm really taking up a lot of time, but I did all of the motions. I got my sponsor. I did my meetings. I did all of that. I popped out my first kid. I popped out my second kid. Awesome. Loved my life. But I was living in the sober closet for 4 years because I thought we weren't supposed to talk about it, that this is something to keep hush. And I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. Don't acknowledge people or whatever. But then I'm like, why not? And I started getting to personal development. I started to become a beach body coach, which is something totally random, because I was stalking this woman who had this crazy transformation. And I'm so influenced by women with muscle. I think that's so empowering. And there's a reason why I'm following her. She was a beach body coach. So I became a coach and started sharing my story on social. And once I did that, I started reading personal development. And my gosh, that helped so much with gaining clarity on why I am the way I am, why I did the things I did, and how to do them better. Because that was one of the 4 vital behaviors. Now, to become a beach body coach, you had to start sharing your story on social. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so awkward. How do I take a picture? I don't know what to do with my hands. Like, how do I feel like, that's so weird. But then I'm like, you know what? I think, and I came to my husband 2 weeks after I started posting on social to promote my programs and things like that. I think I'm supposed to share my sobriety on social media. And I would share my 1 years on social, but I would hide. I don't know if you guys did that, but I would hide people. I'm like, I don't want my coworkers to know. And I would like nonchalantly say I was sober, like posting the promises of AA and things like that. But this time I'm like, I feel like I'm supposed to, if it's such a big part of my life, if I don't do this, how am I supposed to have people trust me? And I'm really big on trust. How am I supposed to think that people would trust me if I'm not honest about this? And I want to, because I forgot this big point in my story. And if you guys can cut me off at any minute, is that before I went to my last inpatient, I knew the thing that was preventing me from getting sober was being honest with my husband about my Adderall use. Like, I was doing Adderall on and off. But the scenario I made up in my mind of how my husband was going to react, which is completely opposite of him, is that he was going to toss and destroy the entire room. He was going to throw everything off the desk and be like, oh my God, I can't believe you lied to me. We are done. And I thought he was going to leave me. But I'm like, I know if I don't tell him this, I cannot stay sober. And so before I went to my last inpatient, I had an honest conversation with him. I said, can I talk to you? He said, yeah, what's up? I told him about it. And he said, okay, are you done? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, then we're good. I'm like, wait, what? You were supposed to like completely lose your mind and go like this. I'm like, oh, that was way easier. Now, I'm not going to say everybody's going to have that same reaction, but that prevented me from being honest. And once I did that, I'm like, oh, now I can do this. Because it was this secret. You hear that secrets keep us sick. And so I was protecting this, but it kept having me going back to the bottle. And there was things that he said in my sobriety journeys. If you can put down the bottle, you can literally do anything. And I've kept that motto for my entire sobriety. Is childbirth, oh my gosh, I don't care. Yeah, hopefully I have an epidural, but if I don't, whatever, because getting sober was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. So I measure any hard thing that comes after against it. So again, I started sharing my journey. I came out of the sober closet, and I don't know, you guys can interrupt me at any point if I'm like going over, but I'm getting into how I became a sober coach really quick. That I started sharing my sober journey on Facebook, and I did a coming out post, which I encourage women to do. I'm trying to get women and anybody having the courage to own their sobriety and to share it and to have that voice and to be proud of it. My gosh, the things you can accomplish in sobriety are incredible. And why should I hide something that saved my life? And so I remember I wrote it in 4 minutes. I said, hey, I'm Jen. I'm an alcoholic. As I used that term then, I don't use it now. And it felt so good. And then I took a weird, awkward picture of myself. I posted it. I threw my phone. I ran into an AA meeting. I had that posting remorse or like vulnerability. I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? And I came back and then I had nothing but love and encouragement and support. And from that moment on, I said, oh, now everybody knows. And I didn't start sharing about it every day because I thought I was supposed to help women lose weight. And over time, the more that I shared about my sobriety journey, the more I discovered, I think I'm supposed to help women get sober. I don't think they're coming to me about this. People are more interested because what I'm doing is working. However, I want to rebrand sobriety. I want to make it fun. I want you to have this thing. I want it to be something you want to do and not something you have to do. Of all of the opportunities that it can give to your life, that it can give you. And again, just incredibly hone in this get to mindset of it's not something I have to do. For me, I really had to do it, but it's something I get to do. I get to own my mornings. I get to wake up without regret. I get to be there for my kids. I get to drive whenever I want, which is a Christmas miracle when you've had a breathalyzer in your car. And so in turn, the more I shared, the more it became clear to me that I should start helping women because I was helping women in my DMs. So I became a sober coach. I launched my group coaching program. I launched my membership. I launched my journal, and it's just snowballed from there. And it's been working for many women of this different approach. And I love this modern sobriety where you get to choose whatever works for you. And it can be a mix of everything. And it can be this, it can be that. If it keeps you sober, then that is your thing, and to keep freaking doing it. So that's how I got into coaching. I know I glanced over that, but thank you guys for listening.
Thank you. Holy shit, I could have just listened to you talk for a whole hour and you got me all in my feels, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm feeling. I think it's just this immense sense of pride. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of where you've been and where you've come and your whole journey, and being able to share that so openly. And sorry, I'm all in my fields. Kevin, you might want to take over.
I know you kept saying, I don't know if you cut me off at any time. And I was like, no, we're not cutting anything off here. Keep going, because I appreciate you just sharing all that. There's so many questions or ways I want to go next. But yeah, first and foremost, thank you for sharing that. You had just said, I'll just go with the easiest one, which is what you just said about have to versus get to. And because the way I look at that is both can be true, right? And it sometimes feels like almost like a trick or just something like, oh, I get to do this. But it can be that I can have to do something and also get to do it. So how do you show people that get to mentality or get that buy-in for them in that way?
Yeah, I guess we do it in my programs with a get to Saturday, because I think Saturday and Sunday mornings are like the best in sobriety. Like you always play the tape forward to the morning.
Yep.
And as someone who's an early riser, I mean, me thinking back then that I would wake up at 4:45 because I love it. But I get to do that because I didn't drink last night. And I think I love to have this reminder for women in my groups because it's so easy to fall, or when you're in your social circle or not getting invited to something or other people drinking or doing this, or it's summer when patio drinks, and it's, man, if you can just play that tape forward and focus on what that may be happening even if they're drinking. I get to do this. I get to remember how I drive home. I get to do this. Being a parent, even though I slept through this crazy storm last week because I was so in deep sleep, my kids are able to wake me up. I'm able to be there for my kids, and I get to, and again, just really repeating this on a weekly basis, if not daily basis, then we can begin to find the joy in sobriety and really focus on all the things that sobriety gives us instead of what we think it's taken away. Of, my gosh, I can't go out with my friends, or I can't do this, or what am I going to do this? It's like, yeah, that's true. But what do you also get to do? Because you don't feel like crap and you're not tired and you have more energy and all of that. So you can have both, but at least counter any of those thoughts with some positive thoughts, how we can romanticize sobriety as much as we romanticize drinking. I invite people to find ways of how we can romanticize sobriety, and it can start with recognizing, what do I get to do? And it can be in the simplest of things. I think, and I post on social a lot as a parent, it really pays off. So my sobriety really pays off in the little yet big things of remembering to be the tooth fairy. Or if my kid, something happens to them, they need to go to the ER overnight. Remembering that stupid elf on the shelf that I
hate that
say,
thing.
why do I do that? Dang it.
Still doesn't happen.
But however, when you wake up early, you can just do it in the morning, which I love. But it really pays off in those moments where, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I'm sober. I'm so glad that my kids have a constant, stable, although I try to stay stable and calm, presence if they're around others who are drinking, that they have that example for them, that you don't need to do this, that you can choose something else. So for me, again, it's just those constant reminders of, yeah, sometimes we have to do, for me, I have to do it, but also look at all of these things and pinpointing those and having them say that in their Saturday morning post can just reaffirm why this life is so awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And looking back, because if you have that, oh, I have to do this mentality, think about with drinking, what do you have to do as well? Like you have to wake up feeling, we don't say I get to wake up feeling like shit. I have to also wake up feeling like shit. I also have to deal with the repercussions of this. We forget sometimes when you talked about romanticizing, we're like, oh, it's such a great time. I always have such a great time doing this. And it's, do you? Let's look at the whole picture, because maybe like the first part of the night, it's fine. It's great. That's what we remember. But what about the last part of the night? How was your sleep? How was the next day? We like separate that from alcohol, but I try to encourage people like, that's the whole picture. Like when we romanticize, like you can't have one without the other. Yeah, go ahead.
No, and I completely agree. It's like, I always have to remind the women, there's always a cost. There's always a consequence. We want to drink without the consequence.
Yeah.
You're always going to have to pay for it. So that 15 minutes of relief is worth 3 to 5 days of withdrawal. You're going to have to pay for that. Of course, it's like more at the first 24 hours, but that lingers in your system, whether you know it or not. That crankiness, the anxiety, all of that, you will have to pay for it. So yeah, you can get the 15 minutes of fake happiness, or you can just allow yourself to feel uncomfortable and to just find these ways to boost that dopamine naturally, and finding people that you like to be around, finding things you like to do. Like, I remember when I got sober, I had no idea what to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do I even do? I'm like, honey, what do we even do for a date?
Yeah.
Because all we did was go to drink.
And what
Like,
do I like to do?
Yeah, do I even
Yeah.
like my husband? I don't know. Like, everything was tainted when I was drinking. So I had to question everything of, do I even like this person? Do I even like these people I'm around? Do we even have anything in common? If I'm not drinking, if we're not drinking, can they be open to meeting me for coffee and not at night? So it's so crazy how one thing can taint your entire life. But that's the beauty, is that with sobriety, you get to really understand who you are and what you like, who you want to be around, because now you're getting down to who you are. And I think that it takes such a long time. So I try to help women, give them ideas of, hey, try this. Did you know you can go paddleboarding? What? No way. Did you know you can literally do anything without alcohol? You just have to allow yourself to experience it and feel awkward at the beginning. And I promise you, more often than not, you're going to leave and be like, that wasn't so bad. Actually, I had a great time. I remember women in my membership that go to concerts and they're like, oh my God, what do I do? I remember my husband going to a concert. He wasn't drinking to support me. And I'm like, doesn't that freak you out? He's like, no. He's like, I'll just drink a Dr. Pepper. I'm like, what? How are you like? How is it even fun? Because I related drinking so much with everything that to do it without it, it's, oh my God, I could actually remember the music. I can actually remember a movie I watched. I can treat myself in other ways at the venue. I can drive home. What? I think we just have to give ourselves more credit and be open to experience it and take it for a test drive before we judge anything going alcohol free. Just try it. And maybe if you don't have a great time, that's just not your thing. Or maybe it's the people that you're around. I don't really feel good after I'm with them. Really good information.
Yeah.
So then, okay, I should do more of this or less of that. Or maybe it was just a crappy band. I don't know. But maybe I was drinking before to make them better. And try new things, be open. And I think you're going to surprise yourself with a lot of things.
I was just thinking, revelation in Emma's brain. I don't know if this is a new revelation. Probably not. But that need to get to or have to get to kind of thing of maybe we do need to or have to get sober, get alcohol out of our lives. But we get to, in this current climate, we get to do it in a really fun way. Like, it's not, we get to do it without necessarily white knuckling. Yes, there's always a certain element of white knuckling in the beginning, no matter what kind of path you choose to get alcohol free. But we get to do it with this really cool community. We get to do it with cool people. We get to do it with neuroscience and fun and laughter and joy. And it's not drudgery of going to a dingy church hall at 7:30 on a Tuesday night where it's cold and rainy, and which was my impression of what a 12-step program would be. I know it's not always like that, but that was definitely something that held me back from getting alcohol free for such a long time, was that I thought it was going to be drudgery. But if we have to or need to get alcohol free, we get to choose how we're going to do it these days. To a certain extent, we get to choose fun and joy and excitement and connection and friendship and experience and all the cool things. Paddleboarding, sober concerts are the best. I have so much fun. I can still dance my ass off and have a great time completely sober and remember it and drive home.
And the great thing, if other people are drinking, they're not going to remember you dancing. So make a fool out of yourself.
Yeah. Go for it. Do what feels good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think one of the points you just made is huge as far as a problem is that thought of, okay, I just hung out with these people, friends, relatives, whatever, and it wasn't fun. What's wrong with me? Versus maybe they're just not fun. Maybe that thing we did just isn't fun. I think all too often we don't challenge it like that. And we just assume I've been doing this forever and it's always been quote unquote fun because alcohol has been there. And then you take that away. And now you're like, see, this isn't fun anymore because I'm not drinking. Then if it was fun with alcohol and it's not fun without it, it can pull us back in and get us back to that I have to do this because that's not fun. But challenging that and saying, maybe those just aren't my people anymore. And that's tough, but it's true. Like maybe I don't like going to that venue, that activity, that thing anymore or maybe I only going for a little bit and then leaving earlier and not staying for hours and hours on end and so on. But challenging that, I think, is so important.
Yeah. And if anything starts past 7 p.m., I'm out. Like I put my pajamas on at 5 p.m. But I guess you get to decide and define what's great in sobriety is that you get to define what fun is for you. This is the equivalent of fun. And I think we've just been fed for many years that fun equals groups of people, loud, we're watching games, drinking beer. No, I don't know. Like to me, and I think I got this from Holly Whitaker, my idea of fun is like a bath and some tea, reading a book. That's like a wild Friday night for me. And I'm like, yeah, that is. Like going to bed at 9 p.m., taking my magnesium glycinate, like all of that, my hormones. Yeah, going to bed at 9:30, that's a crazy night for me. Is you get to define that. And if that's fun for me, great. Now, yeah, if you're around these people and you don't feel good, and this is a hard thing about sobriety is your friendship circles may change, but the ones that truly matter will stick with you. But again, you get to meet so many new people in this process who share the same interests. And again, as you're learning about yourself, maybe you're going to go to yoga, you're going to meet people at yoga or anything like that. So things can change and that can be scary. I know that prevented me and scared the crap out of me. But naturally, it just started happening. And I surrounded myself with new people. And a lot of the people I connect with today are sober because we share this same big thing that a lot of people don't know about. But it's not the case for everybody. But again, and also what you said, Kevin, is before you go to an event, have an open mind too. Instead of having these expectations like this is going to suck. I'm going to be the only sober person here. Everybody's going to be drinking. Aunt Gladys is going to ask me if I have a boyfriend and blah, blah, blah. So instead of having these expectations, eliminate those and be like, you know what? I'm going to have a great freaking time. This is going to be, and even visualizing how I did even before I went to my inpatient treatment, how I show up, how I talk and converse with these people. You know what? Today's going to be a great day. It's going to be an awesome event. Just telling yourself that and just seeing how it plays out is crazy. So just be cautious also of what you're telling yourself. Are you telling yourself this is going to suck before you even get there? Because our thoughts create our reality. We're going to prove that thought to be true if we're telling this is going to be hard, this is going to happen, I'm going to be the only one not drinking. How about, you know what? I'm just going to keep an open mind. It's going to be a great time. I'm going to bring my non-alcoholic drinks in my cooler. I'm going to do this. I'm going to leave early. I'm going to drive myself so I can leave whenever I want. And if someone gives me crap, I'm going to take that and I'm going to leave the situation. So just having that mentality before you even go might change the result as well. So I don't know. And then if you still have a crappy time, it's okay, for sure, I need to take this into account. That maybe I need to change up what I'm doing or change up who I'm around or limit the time that I'm around them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
100%.
I was just going to say next time, Aunt Gladys is coming. Yeah, I'm not going.
Yeah. No, I can't take her. No. And have the courage to say, no, I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it to please other people. I'm just not going. I did that my first year because I was a hermit in my first year. Granted, I was pregnant, so I use that as an excuse. But I was like, no, I'm just not going. Number one, I didn't feel comfortable yet. I had to go to my brother's wedding within my first 60 days. And so I had my husband to support me. He went alcohol free during that. Had to go and converse with a lot of family members, but I got through it. And it was great. Again, once I stopped trying to fight or sneak, everything got so much easier. But yeah, that's just who I was, is that be very cautious, especially if you're in early sobriety, with who you're around, who you choose to be around in certain situations, if you're not comfortable yet. So it's not always going to be like that. But again, once you start to feel a little bit more comfortable, you go to do your sober first, you're like, you boost a little bit of confidence, like, okay, I did that. And then you go to do the next, and it's okay, I did that. Okay, I did that. And it's like this whole year, I really think sobriety is like early sobriety is like an entire year, because you're learning so much, and every single season brings with its own challenges and its own excitement with it. And so you just have to navigate that with every season and do the sober first, adjust it. Okay. And then you keep learning, you keep adjusting, and you keep building this sober life in a way that works for you. So some things that you may have used before, some tools, might not work anymore. And so adjust those tools, add some new things in, keep learning, keep trying, getting community, and keep just trying those new things. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier, so you got pregnant, I think you said 4 months into your sobriety, and I was like, holy shit, but your first year, you're learning so much about yourself. And then when you're pregnant, you're learning like your whole self, body, everything, your hormones are all up in the air, and it's crazy. I was like, holy shit, that's huge. I don't know how you did that. And hat off to you, because going alcohol free is hard enough. Being pregnant is hard enough. Mash them together, and that's a huge challenge. I don't know where I was going with that. I just wanted to make that point. That's amazing. Well done to you, because like you said, that first year you do all of your firsts, and I was absolutely a hermit in my first year as well. I wasn't socializing with that same friend group that I had, because they were big drinkers, and they supported me 100%. They knew that I had to do this. It was just awkward and different, and I wasn't sure how to navigate it. So I retreated from that friend group, and I got really curious about, so what do I do for fun now? What do I do now? So it was about finding hobbies and activities, and what do I like, and all that kind of stuff. So my first year was, real hermit mode. I've lost my train of thought. Sorry, guys.
I like to know I'm not the only one. I'm losing my train of thought. I'm like, I'd be coaching. I'm like, I have no idea
Where
I was
with
going.
this.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I think it's because I've got 6 different topics in my head right now of where I wanted to go.
ADHD brain, right?
Yeah.
Like the wingman, great. I love a wingman at an event. Being pregnant and sober in your first year, holy shit balls. There was something else you said that I wanted to touch on as well. I've got so many good points. It's too many good things to talk about.
It was, with the hormones and first trimester. Oh my gosh, felt like crap. But at the same time, it was just, oh my God, I can't believe it was just something to look forward to. And again, I'm learning all about, okay, and this week your baby's a blueberry. I'm like, no way. And then they're like, ears are forming. And it was just so cool. And it just had something like with the baby shower, getting the baby's room ready. Even though my son came 6 weeks early, that was not part of the baby books. I had no idea what was going on. But it was like this great, again, like I always say, it's like this great gift to come. And it had I don't know if it's like the pregnancy glow or the sober glow or anything. I was just so excited because, again, this was something I wanted for so long. And I just think I couldn't do it because of all of the damage. And so that's why I think our bodies are freaking incredible. And so if my body, again, I'm going to say this again, if it can come back from mouthwash, rubbing alcohol, eating just the crappiest of food, and it could get pregnant, oh my gosh. It was just like a sign from the universe. I'm like, oh, there's of what can happen. And so I just used that as motivation to just continue. And yeah, it's been so freaking cool. And they're my constant wine. So I like to say, I got sober so I could meet them, and I stay sober so I never lose them. They're my constant why. If I ever have a craving, which is very rare, I think I have thoughts of like reminders when I see an open bottle on the counter. I'm like, because that's my brain is, I take that, I drink, and I put it down. And I'm like, whoa. And then I play the tape forward. I flash to my kids. Nope, I am never doing that. It's like I have to be like, well, no, you go down this pathway. That was the old pathway. You go down here. But it happens like that. It's in 2 seconds. I notice it. Kids, turn, walk away. But yeah, they're my forever why, and they always will be.
Yeah, I think a lot of the questions I get asked early on in sobriety is like, when will I be fixed? Or like, when will it not be a thing anymore? And that's not it. But I think it's amazing to know. It's good to know, and it's good to talk about. You can be 12 years on and you can be 12 years sober and you still have that thought. It's not a craving. It's not like something that you have to process for a long time. It's a split second of a like, I don't even think it's in my brain long enough to think of it as a thought. It's just like a spark, and then you shut that down real quick. And you can shut it down really quick. Yeah.
Shut it down. And sometimes when I see it on the counter, it's not like, ooh, I want that. It's, ugh. Yeah. I mentally bleh myself, or now I do that with mouthwash. I'm like, ugh. Like my kids do it. We always get alcohol-free mouthwash.
I was just going to say, you can get alcohol-free mouthwash, guys.
No, yeah. But I still, like, if I have to do that, I'm like, oh, well, you know how if you had a bad night after something you drank, you can never drink that again. That's like mouthwash for me. I cannot. I'm like, ugh. I hope you guys use that in the clip.
That's the Instagram reel right there.
Yeah, that's the first sip of Red Bull for me. I still can drink a Red Bull, but that first sip reminds me of like late 90s to whenever it first came out, and just drinking so much of that with alcohol. And it brings me back every time. But in a pinch, I'll still get it if I need caffeine and it's like on the road or something. They don't have good options. But each time I'm like, ugh, gross.
Yeah.
I have those thoughts too. And I see them more as observations, or I sit there and observe it. I sit with it, or it's not that I sit with it and think about it and mull it over and all that, but it's, oh, okay. Yeah, that thought popped into my brain. And I think that's a big issue sometimes, is that I hear it from others and I know I did it myself. Like, why am I still thinking about that? Why am I still thinking about that? Why is that still there? Why is that thought coming up? It's because we can't control our thoughts. Like, we think we can, and I shouldn't be thinking this anymore because I'm this far along or I'm doing this. But those thoughts are going to pop in our head. I remember watching, I think it was like Suits or something, and with my wife, and I was, I don't know, 2+ years alcohol free, maybe 3. And they're lawyers. And at the end of a day, he's sat down, he poured himself a drink, and he sat down and he took a big sip of it. He made that and set it down. And I was like, immediately turned it off. I'm like, nope, we're not watching this anymore. And that was a bigger feeling about it. But I'm like, yeah, I didn't like that. But early on, I would have been like, ooh, now I want to drink, and we have to process it and get those tools to process it and to work on it. And that's where I was going to pivot if we want, but asking about that, like, what tools helped you? What do you recommend to people? What habits, all of that? What do you share with others in your community and elsewhere on Instagram and everywhere else?
Yeah. And there's tools that I've learned along the way that I use all the time today that I didn't even know back then. Now, some tools that aren't a part of my habits that I personally use, I tell the women in my groups to use. Number one, of course, is play the tape forward. You hear it all the time. It's like a broken record, but I use it all the time as someone who went sugar-free in March, changed up a lot of my diet. I do the play the tape forward method for food sometimes, of food that doesn't love me back. Man, the smell of pizza. Oh, I can't stand it. It's so good, but it doesn't like me. My stomach doesn't like it. Play the tape forward. If for a drink, play that tape forward. Where's that drink going to lead? How do I want to feel in the morning? Turn around, do something else. You're going to use it all the time. The number one tool, I think, in sobriety. Another thing that I say, or if I'm feeling nervous, And I say it to my kids. I actually said it to my daughter yesterday. She performed piano for a 4-H for the fair, something big up here. And I say, just remember, like to myself, before I do this, before I get nervous, I say, you know what? I'm not going to die. Because when you feel anxiety, when you feel nervous, it feels like you're going to die. I know my son says, but I know, Mom, but it feels like I am. I'm like, I know, but this will not kill you. So once I can say that to myself before I do anything scared, I'm like, you know what? Is this actually going to kill me? Is this anxiety going to kill me? No. Just play the piano. If you mess up, who cares? Just keep going. You're not going to die. Before they go to school, their first day of school, oh, I'm feeling nervous. Hey, it's okay to feel nervous. You're not going to die. It's, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not going to die. It feels like it, right? But I'm not going to die. Another big one that I use that we actually just had a speaker on before this is box breathing. I'm doing that for my challenge for July. I am forcing myself as a woman with ADHD to sit and to breathe for 5 minutes. It helps so much. It helps create a break between you doing something you regret and you doing something else. It can help lower your cortisol. It helps lower your heart rate. It helps reduce stress. It is by far one tool I use every single day. And she actually just told us this in the session before this, is that you have to practice this when your lid is not flipped. You practice it when things are going well. So just like the habits that I share in my programs, we do habits when things are going well. And I like to say it's in the off season. So for basketball, we're in the off season of basketball. And you do it when things are going on, not just when crap hits the fan, is when you pull back and you use your tools. If you do that, you're already too late. You revert to your highest level of training. So I'm putting in these daily deposits to pour into myself, to regulate my nervous system, to make me feel better, to produce dopamine naturally. So when I need to make a withdrawal, it's going to take less of a hit of this fight or flight. Holy crap, I need a drink. No, breathe, work out, all of these things. So the first habit, I'll run through these very briefly, is above all else, we got to stay sober. So in my groups, I do trackers, visual proof, boost dopamine. To stay sober above all else, that's the most important habit. Now, these other habits help keep you sober, help you to stay sober because they're going to help build structure, they're going to help fill the time and make you feel better and then produce dopamine naturally. Now, the second was to make sure we're hydrated. You're going to drink half your body weight in ounces of water every single day. Yes, pure water. I'm not talking about sparkling water. I'm not talking about flavored water. I'm talking about pure, clean, simple water. Now, why is this important? Is it's going to boost your energy. So that's going to help with early sobriety fatigue. It's going to help carry nutrients to your cells. So it's going to help cleanse the liver. It's also going to help with any brain fog that you feel. So I think a lot of us are forgetting our train of thought. Water is going to help with that. And I think we confuse a lot of dehydration symptoms with other things when it's really just, you got to drink more water. Even though it's easy to do, it's easy to not do. So I have women bring full water bottles to my calls, and their goal, because I'm ADHD, yes, there you go, is to finish it by the time they're done, to make it into a game. So if I can gamify my water, I'm going to drink it more. Now, reading, like I said, I started personal development when I started Beachbody coaching. It transformed everything. Once I started and to read motivation, about anxiety, all of those things, because Maya Angelou says, when you know better, you do better. So when you can learn, because no one's going to tell you how crappy alcohol is, even though we're getting more information about it, it's up to you to do the research. So read Quit Lit, read books not even pertaining to sobriety of if you want to be a better parent, how to regulate your emotions, how ADHD books. I've read like a million ADHD books. Right now, I'm reading about hormones and perimenopause. Okay, now what do I try? Do I do HRT? Do I do this? It really helped gain clarity. So read 10 pages of a book every day. And I think, Kevin, you did 75 Hard a while ago. I know when I did it, I got that from there because it helps so much to just, I can read 10 pages, all right?
Yeah.
Gratitude. So write 5 things you're grateful for from the past 24 hours to really get specific. And so when I started gratitude, I'm like, this is stupid. And there's even more reason that I had to do it. is when I started to be specific and I started to be like, okay, what went well from yesterday? Again, encouraging this get to mindset, right? We're looking for the things that are going right, because I think, especially for us, we have a very negative brain. So it helped me to see the good in sobriety and to see the good in life, to see what is actually going well. Because I think we just overlook it of just, oh yeah, but when you lose something like the power goes out or your cat gets lost or something, you never really realize how good you have it until it's gone. You're like, oh man, wow. So writing 5 things from the past 24 hours, it increases happiness, again, produces that dopamine, helps us feel better and of course happier, like I said. Now, one of the last ones is exercise. I'm really big on exercise. So moving your body for 30 minutes every single day, which can mean walking. Walking is fantastic for blood sugar regulation, for hormones, for happiness, getting outside, vitamin D, boosts dopamine. It can be yoga, it can be stretching, it can be HIIT, it can be a run, it can be strength training, whatever you want. I want you to move your body. Maybe you're going to go out for a bike ride. It is so important for your brain, for especially to heal your brain from alcohol, to move your body, because it's going to increase blood flow to our brain. It's going to improve our brain. It's going to boost that confidence. It's going to help process emotions, reduce anxiety. It's going to boost that dopamine naturally and not give us this huge spike and huge drop. It's going to gradually increase, and then it's going to sustain us throughout the whole day. So if you get that movement in the morning, you get to reap the benefits all freaking day. So just keep that in mind. I think it is the most underutilized tool, and literally almost everybody can do it, and you do not have to pay for it. Walking and your body weight counts. It is huge.
Yeah.
And then the last one is just checking into a sober community every day. So that doesn't mean you have to go to a meeting every day or go on this, do this. It means just checking in. Maybe it's just one other person that you check in with. Maybe it's a sober coach. Maybe it's you just check the app. So we have an app. You check to see what's going on. Maybe you like someone's post. Maybe you post something yourself. But staying engaged to other sober people in some way. So we follow those. In my challenges, I do 70-day challenges, 100-day challenges to commit to something to, again, boost that confidence. And then it's a more lax approach a little bit in my membership, but it's a constant because, again, it provides that sense of control and that constant, even when things appear to be chaotic in our life. If we can have that morning routine or that little time to pour into ourselves, and I like to think of our bodies as a car. And what I put into my car with food, with nutrition, with sleep, that's going to make it run well, to have the energy to chase and drive my kids every freaking which way this summer. That I have the energy to do that, to show up, to run a coaching program, to run a membership, and do it without needing a drink, and to have that energy to do so because I'm putting good fuel in my tank, and I'm doing that from the beginning. So own the morning and you can own the day, but having those constant things, and you can make up whatever habits you'd like. If that's too much, cut in half, but something that you can commit to every day to improve your life just a little bit of something you want to work on is huge. And the more habits and things that you work on, the more your life's going to improve, the more that you're going to feel better. And then, especially in sobriety, you're like, okay, wow, getting sober, you're going to feel so much better. But if you can add in some water, a little bit of movement, like a 10-minute walk, oh my gosh, you're going to start to realize, holy crap, I'm feeling so much better. And now I can process emotions. I remember my husband, he was getting super frustrated dealing with our old pool the other day. And he's, I can't take it. And he is the most chill person on the planet. He's like, that's it. I'm going for a walk. I'm like, good for you. You go on that anger walk. But they can just help us, again, stay sober, feel better, and have a sense of control in our lives.
Yeah, loved me a rage walk. So good. And walking is so underrated. And like when we think of exercise, we always think of, I don't know, going to a gym class or going to a class or an event, a thing. But walking is the process of the steps. Our brains love rhythm, and just moving our body in a rhythmic motion, the steps, the vibration, like the jolt of the step, it's meditative for us, and it helps reset and calm our body. Walking, running as well, but walking particularly is something everyone can do, and it's so good for just bringing us back down and centering us and just getting us back to that baseline of being okay. Yeah, love me a rage walk or a rage run. Rage burpees, not so much.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
no.
And I like how you said, take this, cut it in half, change it. But I do think it's good to take something like what you just suggested, or I use the Miracle Morning, or there's other, hey, try these 5 things. Like James Clear, it says in Atomic Habits, standardize before you optimize. Because I think we always try and go, at least maybe that's just me, I'm like going right to optimization, and I plan and do all the things. And I'm like, yeah, I can walk, but I'm going to do it for an hour and a half each day, and I'm going to check my heart rate zones and blah, 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 whatever. It's, yeah, I could hydrate, but what are my electrolyte balances? Can I measure that? Nobody's like actually doing this. I'm just joking about like some of these levels, but don't complicate it. Just do something, find like what you just said, and just do it for 30 days. Don't worry about optimizing it. Don't worry about changing it up just yet. Just do it. And especially, you said gratitude, it's so stupid. I'm not saying it's stupid. I'm just saying that's what I thought. I just did a meeting on it last week because I like doing that regularly and making it, I call it weird gratitude, because think of just any random thing that you're grateful for. And I give a bunch of examples from a card deck that I have. It's like tater tots or toilet paper or like all these random things that like never reached my gratitude list before, because I tried to make it like it's my wife and my daughter and my job, and it has to be all these big things. Like, no, look at that it was, I don't know, not 90 degrees today, although it feels like it in this room right now, or whatever you're grateful for. And if you say, oh, that's stupid, it probably means you really need to do it. And it probably means that you're resisting in some way, and you need to really dive into that. That's how I see those things now. If I say that, I'm like, we should probably look at that more.
And Jen, like you were saying, these habits and these things, we need to practice them and embed them when we're feeling good, when things are going well, because our body needs to be confident in doing it and know how to do it. We need to know how to do gratitude without thinking too much about it, and it needs to be just second nature, because when the wheels fall off and when we actually need the gratitude, it needs to happen naturally, not be forced and be struggling with it. It's like any skill. Playing the piano, you can't perform a concert piano recital straight away. You've got to practice it. And so then when you're at that point of stress or that point of need, when you have to be at your best, you're falling back on all of those days, months, years of practice that you've done, and it'll just happen, and you don't have to think too much about it. That's a really good point of, we don't dig into our tools when we need them. We need to dig into our tools every day. Practice them every day.
Yeah, if you just think about, it just had me thinking of, let's just take Olympics and like the gymnasts and people who train years and years for this little blip, this little moment, this little like 2 minutes to perform, but they train their hearts out. That's their entire life. I'm not saying you have to train your entire life for these moments, but that they're putting in the work and doing it from muscle memory of, I'm just falling back. Even if I'm nervous, millions of people are watching me. My body just does it because I've been doing it for so long. That's what I naturally fall back on. So you're just doing the same kind of work. You got to practice. You got to put in the tools, put in the hours, put in the reps. And I promise you, it will pay off. But I, like you with gratitude, I didn't know what to be grateful for. So I literally Googled, what can I be grateful for? And at this moment, Rachel Hollis had this Start Today journal. I'm like, what are other people being grateful for? Oh, okay. So I could do that. And I had a woman in my membership, Naomi. She was exactly like me. And she looked around the room. She's like, I don't know. I love carpet. I love lamp.
I
And
love
she was
lamb.
just, I have no freaking idea. This is so dumb. But the science behind it is so strong and it does help. Again, instead of being like, this is happening and this, it's, man, I am so, holy smokes, it's like the sun is out. Whoa, that is awesome. And so I'm going to write that on my gratitude tomorrow. So and you make it a daily practice, because you know you got to do that tomorrow morning, you're going to be on the lookout for those things, those little like glimmers, those little moments. It's like, I should put that on my thing for tomorrow. Oh yeah, that is such a, or any moment that made you smile, make you laugh. Maybe it was like the last skinny pop at Target and you're like, oh my God, I got the last one. Yes. Because if it wasn't there, it's like, dang it, they're sold out again. So it's like those little, oh, it's this popcorn. I can't have it right now, but it's like, I freaking would eat bags of it because it's so good.
I was thinking like an icy pop. Do you call them icy pops? Icicles? Popsicles?
Popsicle.
Ice block? I was thinking that. Okay, popcorn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Popcorn is good. All right. Sorry. Carry on.
I saw the look of, and I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, what is that again? Because I think we have some downstairs right now, but I was thinking popsicle too, but yeah.
But yeah, training your brain to look for the good things is so important, because we're wired to look for danger.
Yeah.
The bad things, we're wired to look for the negative, but it doesn't mean we can't train our brain to look for that fresh strawberry was delicious. I'm grateful for those strawberries. It's not strawberry season in New Zealand, and I wish it was. We have strawberry fields not far from where I live, and like you can do like a pick your own, you like pay for the bucket. So good.
We have some outside, and I'm just picking fresh strawberries, and it is literally candy. Like, so good. I'm like, oh, I know. See, we're getting our juices just by about strawberries. They're so good, you guys, and a great sober activity. If you're looking for stuff to do, start gardening. Grow a plant. Grow a tomato plant. Super hardy, super easy. If you don't like tomatoes, try, even if you don't, like, give them to other people or mash them up, put them in chili. Something that I don't really like eating tomatoes, but I like them in chili. Try something. And something I didn't do when I was drinking, or even in beginning of sobriety, something I started in COVID was gardening. It's so much fun, you guys. So therapeutic. I freaking love it. And I love eating what I grow. Unless those stinking groundhogs get in there. But I love it. It's so good.
And I was just going to say, if you don't have, because I did this I think this was like a Prime Day buy like years ago, where I got that little greenhouse kit that you put on your counter, like that has the lamp and you can grow herbs and tomatoes and things like that. So even if you don't have a lot of space, you can still do that, and it's fun and rewarding to do that as well. But let's think outside the box for that. Oh, I can't do that. Okay, what can you do? Sorry, what were you going to say, Emma, on that?
I was going to say we don't have groundhogs in New Zealand either, so I can't relate.
Oh.
But it's so funny you talk about growing a garden. My early, like very first month of sobriety, what am I going to do? How do I get through this? I started, like, every time I cut up my kids' apples for my kids' lunch boxes or making dinner, I was harvesting all the seeds from all the fruit and vegetables, and I started sprouting them. And I learned how to sprout capsicums, apples, pears. We've got 3 avocado trees now. Who knows if they'll fruit, because they take 5 to 10 years to fruit. Oh, we've got some avocado trees. Let's see. So yeah, it's so funny that you mentioned gardening. That became my vitally absorbing passion of harvesting seeds.
Give me some of those avocados.
I don't know if they're going to fruit.
Oh, once they do, you guys, avocados are fantastic for sobriety and your brain. The healthy fats, like, it is one of the top foods. If you're looking or taking away anything from this podcast, see if you can add like a half of an avocado to a shake, to your lunch.
Good idea.
It makes it really nice and creamy, you guys. If you go to a Walmart, because that's the only thing by me, you can get it frozen, because I know avocados, they're picky on what they like, but you can get it frozen chunks. But that's what I do. Otherwise, again, half of an avocado in your smoothie. If you don't like the taste, put it in your smoothie. It's nice and rich, nice and creamy. It's going to make you feel fuller longer. That healthy fat is going to help your brain. Anyway, side thought, but because you mentioned avocado, I freaking love avocado. And it's a
I
great thing to have at night too.
I had a
Yeah.
great avocado chocolate mousse recipe that was like with cacao powder and maple syrup and avocado, and it was so creamy and so good. I remember making it for, I don't know if you guys do it in America, but in New Zealand they'll do shared lunches at school where meet the teacher, meet the families, and everyone brings in a plate and you share something. And I made this, and I remember one parent I overheard being like, "What kind of parent brings in chocolate mousse? That's so unhealthy." And I was like, "Actually, it's all organic and it's avocado and it's maple syrup and cacao powder and it's actually a superfood and blah blah blah." And like flipped these parents the bird. They were bad mouthing me, and I was like, "No, I will not stand for it." I should find that recipe. It was good. It's
Yeah,
good. Like
send it.
so rich.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought you were going to go the other way. I would expect it the other way. What kind of parent brings avocado chocolate mousse to
Me too.
this?
I'm like,
They
why are
didn't
you bringing something
say-
healthy? Where's the donuts?
Yeah.
I did.
was
Yeah.
thinking you were going to go.
Everyone else brings like the donuts, the pizza, or the pack of
Yeah.
biscuits or cookies or whatever. But I didn't label it like avocado chocolate mousse. I just labeled it chocolate mousse. And the kids loved it. So clearly it was tasty because kids won't eat shit they don't like. They'll, if it tastes healthy, they will throw it back at you. I find.
It reminds me of the Mounds cake that my mom made back in the day. And apparently she made it out of mashed potatoes. Like Mounds, what is it? Coconut and whatever. Apparently there's mashed potatoes in there. And my one brother found out what was actually in it. And she's, "Don't you tell a single person this tastes good. Nobody knows the difference. Don't tell anybody." He told everybody, nobody ate it.
Yeah, if they don't know it's healthy, they'll eat it.
I don't know if I don't know if mashed potatoes are necessarily healthy, but it was probably healthier than maybe what she would have put in otherwise. I don't know what the ingredients were, but yeah, once you can't unknow it.
Nope. Same with alcohol. Once you know, you can't unknow
Mm.
it. Man, what the heck? No.
Once you learn what it does to your brain and your body and your hormones, and it affects every single part of your body, and not in a good way. None of it in a good way. Yeah, the hormones, I'm perimenopausal as well, so I went through that whole journey. And once you learn what it does to your hormones, you're like, holy shit, no thank you.
That's a fun, wild ride. I love it.
Yeah.
And then you start to question, what's wrong with me? You're like, oh. And then you start to do research. It's just perimenopause. I'm just naturally crazy. Love it. And tomorrow I'm going to be great. I don't know what it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get every day.
All right, thanks so much for chatting with us, Jen. There were so many good points that I just wanted to touch on, and I don't think I touched on half of them, and I was just absolutely enthralled listening to you and listening to your story and listening to your honesty. That was just amazing. Got me all in my feels. But before we wrap up, close out. This is something that Kevin and I like to do, something completely off topic because life's not just about sobriety, it's about everything. We want to give a little nugget for our listeners of what did you learn this week? Maybe it's I was today years old when I learned, or I was this week old. Oh, I screw that up all the time. Just something that's interesting that you've learned that's not necessarily alcohol or sobriety related. So for me, my nugget this week is buy an electric vehicle. They are so much fun to drive. And it doesn't have to be a new one. I could not afford new. I bought myself my last car got written off because some people decided that they would try and steal it, and they did just enough damage to get it written off by breaking windows and jimmying the ignition. So it's been a good few months of researching, what do I want? Not what's most practical necessarily. We've got a 16-year-old who's learning to drive, so that was a consideration. I wanted a small little zippy car, easy to park, yada, yada, yada. And I settled on a Nissan Leaf, and it is wonderful. It is so quiet. It's like driving a little spaceship / go-kart. It's wonderful. I love my little Leaf, and I'm saving the planet, and that makes me feel good. But it's so comfortable to drive, and it's got heated seats and a heated steering wheel, so I can turn it on. So when I'm going to the gym at 5 a.m, it's like warm because it's winter in New Zealand. It's 10 out of 10 recommend. Buy an EV, and it doesn't have to be an expensive one. That's my nugget.
Awesome.
Cool chat, Tim. Cool story.
I was just going to say, I was laughing whenever you're like, and I'm saving the planet. I'm like, I'm saving the planet too. My wife and daughter make fun of me because they're like, have you left the house this week? I'm like, yeah, I've gone for a walk. No, have you driven anywhere? Have you like left and go anywhere? I'm like, no, I'll go out with you guys this weekend, whatever. That's
Don't get me wrong. If I didn't have to leave the house, I probably wouldn't. I love going to the gym each morning. That's my thing for sure. But yeah, but I do have to do like a round trip of Auckland City on Wednesdays in particular, kids' activities. Bring on the 16-year-old being able to drive herself.
Yeah.
That'll be a glorious day.
That's a game changer. I did leave the house yesterday though, but
hooray.
Do you have one, Jen?
Yeah. I didn't know if you wanted to go or me go. What I was telling before is that I'm looking and learning so much about blood sugar. And I just got, what is it called, Kevin? That thing that you put on your arm?
Lingo?
Lingo, whatever. And how much what you eat at night can affect how you sleep. And so I think it's just really interesting as I've been going on this health journey since March with how food makes you feel. And I think so many of our emotions can be tied back to food. And so as someone right now, again, 12 years sober, but I'm struggling with sleep, with waking up early. Yes, it could be perimenopause, but it also could be because my blood sugar is dipping, which I only knew about because someone messaged me on Instagram. Thank you, Instagram, to say she's going through the same thing. And it's all about her blood sugar. And so also what I'm learning about as I'm working with a trainer is that never to have naked carbs. You always want to pair a carb. So again, blood sugar regulation, because when you dip, it can spike cortisol. So again, those early sobriety sugar cravings, totally okay, but always pair it with a protein. You guys, you never want to have sugar without protein. However, if you're going to have carbs, which convert into sugar, you also want to pair it with a protein and a fat, or at least one, either or. So never have fruit or sweet potatoes without the protein or the fat with it, because that will help keep your blood sugar stable so you don't experience these high highs and these low lows. So I know that's woo, but it's so fascinating to me of, oh my gosh, I've been taking a ton of supplements to try to help me sleep. They're saying, okay, maybe let's put you on this and this. What if it's related to my blood sugar? What if I just started eating a tip, half an avocado with some olive oil, maybe some pumpkin seeds at night, if that would help me get a great night of sleep? Mind blowing. So anyways, I'm on this like blood sugar journey where I just put it on today, and I'm just interested of what things will spike, when my blood sugar will spike, when it will dip, and the amount and the time that I wake up at that 3:30, which could be perimenopause, if my blood sugar, if that's related to what my blood sugar is doing. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I've been learning, and it's been fascinating.
That's mind blowing. The whole having fruit with a fat or in a protein. One of my favorite snacks is apple dipped in peanut butter. Is that weird? I don't know, but yeah, that's like a fruit with some sugar and some carbs with
I had it last night.
A fat and a protein, and it's delicious. And it's my body is telling me exactly what to do.
That's a really good nighttime snack. So apple with almond butter, peanut butter. Right now I can only have sunflower butter, a hard-boiled egg with avocado. I know that's my late night treat, but, or if you have strawberries, have it with Brazil nuts or have it with a nut to help stabilize your blood sugar. If you're having trouble sleeping at night, which can be common in early sobriety. Anyways, I'm learning a lot about it, and I think it's incredibly fascinating. So yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah.
Good nugget.
Yeah. And I see you have the Aura ring too.
I think I have to take this off because it's creating anxiety for me.
Okay.
It's like, I feel great. And then I see my Aura score and it's like, you're dying. I'm like, really? Dang.
Yeah. See, mine, I go around like evangelizing for it. I don't know if that's the best word, but I'm like, it has never, ever been wrong for me. I've never gone in there, do what you just said was mine seems to be like, 60. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling like today. Or 82, exactly. Like I'm ready. I'm feeling that. And it's felt consistent for me. Again, that's me. And yeah, I love that. And just the data. And that's part of what my nugget is too, is just the data. And it's cool that you're going to get me on the lingo again, because the first time I used it didn't
Not
do
the
it
right
the
time.
way I should have. Yeah.
And they say how much I'm just exploring the Lingo app. This is not an ad for it, of course.
Yeah.
But they're saying how much alcohol is going to throw off your Lingo score. But again, they're just prioritizing protein. Just little nuggets that I've found in there is you want to move your body, like a 10-minute walk before and especially after you eat, if you struggle with blood sugar regulation. So even just taking a 10-minute walk after you eat lunch, dinner, or breakfast, or all three, is going to be really helpful in how you feel and help you digest that food. Just a little tip, but I think it's super cool, and I think everybody should try it.
Yeah.
I love that. Kev, what's your nugget?
I guess my nugget, it's not really what did I learn this week, although it is, but it's like I knew it, but I'm doing it in a different way and it's working. And that is, and you mentioned tracking your glucose. We're talking about tracking sleep. And I think I'm going to talk about that this weekend at a meeting, just about what are you tracking? Because it could be, if we're cutting back our number of drinks, if we're quitting, it's putting up the green mug in the Reframe app that I didn't drink today. It could be our sleep. It could be, but I think, I don't know what the quote is I heard, but it's, what we measure, we care about, we focus on. And I started measuring a lot of things in my bullet journal. And then I went into AI and I was like, oh, you know what? I started this project a while ago called Fit Kevin. And then I said, hey, talk to me like this. I'm going to come in and you're going to these are the 5 types of exercises I like to do. I'm going to come in every night and you just tell me which one to do. And I worked for 3 days until I didn't do it on the 4th day. And then I was like, okay, I know it's AI, but I'm not going to go back in there because I don't need to hear her shit. Because I told the project to talk to me. I'm like, don't be afraid. Don't be scared to give me shit. Talk to me like a smartass. I have 3 older brothers. Talk to me like one of them. We're smartasses, but we encourage each other and blah, blah, blah. I gave it parameters. And it works because it does. And it's been super motivating now that I've gone back in. I started tracking in here and I'm like, what if I just told it like, hey, track this, log this right now, log this. And I just go in and do that and then create a graph and do all this stuff automatically. Now, pros and cons to digital versus analog and all that stuff. That's a whole rabbit hole I could get into. But yeah, like it's my Coach V. I'm like, what do you want to be called? Came up with a name. I'm like, give me motivation whenever and a lot of that checking in. It's okay. Do you need anything else today? Or are you going to check in tomorrow morning when you get up and don't hit your snooze? And it's all these reminders. I'm like, yeah, remind me to not do that. Remind me to do that. And so far the motivation has been high and it's helped. Now we'll talk to me next week. That's been like 2 weeks. But yeah, so far so good. So you using AI to run and eventually ruin my life, probably. I don't know. Take over the world.
I love that, using AI to kick your ass into gear and motivate you to do the right thing, to not hit snooze, get out of bed, eat that avocado.
It's this great quote that, and I feed in like what I'm reading, like Daily Stoic, or I'm reading Meditations for Mortals each day. And I'll take pictures of the couple pages if a chapter really hits, and I'll put it in there. I'm like, what do you think of this? Like, how can we incorporate this? And just asking those questions and I'm trying to utilize it. And it's almost like an experiment, obviously, to see how far I can leverage this. But it came up with a great quote recently, and I don't think it was from anywhere. I think it just put it together, and it said, you said you wanted this, so let's go. Like the goals that I set. And that like really hit. I'm like, you need to put that on something so I can slap it on my phone screen and use that for motivation, because I like that a lot. It didn't feel judgy or anything, but anyway, I'm nerding out on this. Yeah.
I'm gonna have my ChatGPT do some tough love to me too. Yeah, I need it.
Yeah,
and I like it. Give me some Shanti. Yell at me. Scream at me.
Yeah, tell it. Talk to me as if you were
Shanti.
Shanti.
Yeah, that'd be great. There you go.
Who's Shanti?
Oh, and Insanity was his first one, right?
Yeah,
Well,
he's a
not
fitness
necessarily.
trainer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might need to Google after that.
Yeah.
Is he like a drill sergeant
Kind of.
trainer? Okay.
But he's motivational and positive.
Yeah.
But he'll kick your butt.
Yeah. Yeah, I have seen on my Instagram scrolling where you can put into like ChatGPT, these are my health goals, these are my eating goals, these are the foods we like to eat. I'm a family of 4, write me a menu and a grocery list and blah, blah, blah. Keep it within this budget.
I did that this weekend. I told it, hey, this is what I am doing now and how I like to eat. This is what my wife is doing, how she likes to eat. This is what my daughter's doing. These are our normal meals. And I told it like, okay, factor some of those in and come up with 2 new meals this week that are easy, but have vegetables in it. And we already had one. I can't remember what the second one is. The second one, yeah. But
yeah, I think I need to help with eating seasonally because a lot of like the cookbooks, the recipes that we find, particularly being in New Zealand and down under, like the recipes that are on trend aren't the right season. Capsicums are like, oh, you guys call them, what do you, bell peppers, I think? They're like $5 per capsicum at the moment at the supermarket. Ain't nobody making a salad or stuffed capsicum right now. It's too expensive. Let's do capsicums in summer when they're 50 cents a capsicum. So yeah, maybe I could use ChatGPT or AI to build me seasonal meals that are not just pumpkin, kumara. Kumara is sweet potato, all those stodgy carbs, because that's all I can think of to eat right now. That being said, kumara is one of my favorite vegetables. So good. Sweet potato.
Oh.
We call it kumara down here. It's a little bit different, but it's a sweet potato, essentially.
Love me those.
All right.
Tangents successfully navigated. Thanks so much, Jen, for chatting with us today. That was, like I said, amazing, touching, so motivational, so much knowledge and wisdom. Thank you so much. Where can people find you or contact you? How, if they want to learn more, get in touch?
Yeah, you can. I like to hang out on Instagram at jenleehirst.com. So JenLeeHirst. And then you can also go to my website at joinlighthousesobriety.com for upcoming group coaching programs, my membership, journal, all of that. So contact me there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, great talk. Really appreciate it. And thank you all for listening to another episode of the Reframeable Podcast, brought to you by the Reframe app. Reframe is the #1 iOS and Android app to help you cut back or quit drinking alcohol. It uses neuroscience to reframe your relationship with alcohol and unlock the healthiest, happiest you. If you're enjoying this podcast, please like, subscribe, and share with those that you feel may benefit from it. And I want to thank you again for listening, and be sure to come back next week for another episode. Have a great day.
Bye, friends.